Hello, everybody. Got this cute little ceramic pumpkin girl that we're going to be painting today. We're going to dry brush this little, I think she's a girl. People have said she's a boy, but we'll see. This is a piece that comes from the Dona Sweet Tot Halloween set. We painted this entire set at Dimple Fest, and I'm just finishing up the video on how we did that. So I thought I would dry brush this with you guys. Hi, Carol. Hopefully it won't take too long, but we'll see. I'm going to be working with my Zem dry brushes today. I've got a couple of numbers, a number 6 and number 4, 2 number 6s and a number 8. So if you guys haven't checked out these dry brushes, these Zem dry brushes are great. There's 2 different kinds, and I really wasn't sure what the difference was until I tried both of them out. So these interlocking ones, these gray handle brushes, this is more of like a traditional dry brush. It's really coarse, kind of hog's hair. And I don't really know the difference between interlocked and the synthetic bristle filbert. So this is essentially the same brush here. So the shape is the same, the length is the same, the size is the same. Don't mind my dirty hands with paint all over you guys. I had art camp today. So they're basically the same here on the length and everything, but when you, with the synthetic bristle filberts, the white handle brushes, this is more of like a really soft kind of a bristle. It's almost like, I don't know how to describe it. It feels kind of velvety versus this one is more of a coarse. So I think if you're looking for more of a softer look, these synthetic bristles are the way to go. So I'm actually going to use a number 4, and we'll just do her face really quickly first. I'm using all DecoArt paints. I've got a couple jars of water here, a clean jar and a dirty jar of water. I've got my paint tray with some tin foil. This is a natural buff that I'm going to just dry brush over the top of her face, which is base coated. I think we used warm beige. So I'm just going to pick up some paint here on my brush. I am using a number 4 filbert because her face is, round. So we always want to use a filbert or round, when we're working on these kind of areas here. So remove most of that paint out of your paintbrush. Hi, Karen. Thank you guys for watching. So we're just going to dry brush. I like to start on the nose area first. And then we're just going to work our way out here. I really cannot say enough about these Zem brushes. I mean, I have noticed a huge difference in the amount of paint that gets left on the brush versus the ones that I was using before. Because if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I work pretty quickly in the dry brush area. Hi, Susie. Hi, Jackie. So I really want to I work pretty fast, so I tend to end up leaving too much paint on my brush a lot of times. And I really feel like these brushes do a really good job of really smoothing it out, even if I do get too much paint on there. Really want to highlight these high spots on the cheek. And I usually don't do the eyes until I have the whole face dry brushed, because there's no point in painting the eyes white and then, having to dry brush around it. That just takes too long. So it's a lot easier to do the white over the eyes once you have the whole face dry brushed. Pick up some more paint here. So flip her around. I really like to try to start in the midline of the face. You're pretty much always going to have the nose, the chin, the lips, and the forehead will kind of be your brightest spot. So it's really a good idea to work that way and, you know, work out, because then also the lips and the nose kind of pick up some of that excess paint on there. My paintbrush is touching my phone, and so I'm having a hard time getting a good angle here for this. I'm really going to do a lot of contouring on the faces, so I really am not going to spend a lot of time doing too much other than just right on the top of the face here. And I'm just going to do one really quick coat. Because really you just need kind of your base colors and your highlights on there, and then you can come in and add your shadows with your pastels when you get to the shading portion. Hope you guys are having a good day today. Hi, Deanna. It was so hot here today, and we had art camp outside. Oh, 2 sessions today, and it was hot. But the kids had a great time. They never complain about it. Lots of water. We were in the shade, so it was good. All right, so I've got something happening right here on this cheek where I don't know if it's like some texture from cleaning maybe or something, but the paint isn't sticking really well right here in this corner. So that might look kind of weird when I get to the pastel part, because it's definitely like a fingerprint or something on there. Okay, and you're going to want to do this on all of the areas of the skin tone. You know, we want to add our highlight color on, so on all the hands and the legs. We'll just do a little bit of her hand here. You get right up under here a little bit. I kind of want to leave the neck and the underneath part pretty dark, because you're going to have some dark shadows under there. Definitely want to highlight that chin really well. Okay, and then they look like they could be gloves, but I don't know. I think they were hands, so that's what I went with. I really am such an impatient dry brusher. If I can't see like instantly my change, I'm frustrated. I'm ready to move on to the next color. So I'm going to leave a little bit more paint on my brush this go round. And I think I'm not going to really do too much highlighting on the skin, because I'll just come in and shade with the pastels. So, but like you for sure could add some white to your brush. We'll highlight the knuckles, highlight the cheeks. But I know I'm going to do so much shading on the face, so you really won't be able to see much of this anyways once all that's completed. So let's skip on to, I'm going to keep using this same brush. Even though it's a little bit small for the pumpkin area, it already has this natural buff color in it. So I want to go ahead and I'm going to add some jack-o'-lantern orange to this paintbrush, which is going to turn this into kind of like a pastel kind of an orange. Then I'm going to put some saffron yellow on my tray. And I could have rinsed my brush and just, you know, got a new brush, but let's just see how this looks. Now I'm going to add some yellow in there. So I'm starting to kind of work out that natural buff color. I'm going to pick up some more orange. So the reason I'm mixing this right out of the gate is because I've already done a piece with the jack-o'-lantern orange over the top of the scarlet. And I didn't get enough contrast. So I know I need a lighter color. So that's why I'm going to go ahead and leave this shade in here, because this is already kind of a, you know, creamy, yellowy base. These three colors are all in the same family together, right? I know I can kind of mix all these colors together and it's going to be cohesive. So I'm going to pick up some more orange, because I really do want a bright jack-o'-lantern orange, but I needed that little bit of kind of creamy color in there to offset it. So I'm going to pick up a little bit more yellow. Now that's a pretty fun color right there. I am happy with that right here. Okay, so then I'm going to go on and we're going to start dry brushing the top of her little pumpkin here. For me, I like to do, I've got a lot of paint on here. I'm trying to work kind of fast. I like to work this filbert brushes on this round area, even though it's flat texture. You know, you could for sure use a flat brush here too. But you guys know with the filberts, I prefer the filberts. I use those most of the time. I like how this is kind of giving me a little bit of a yellowy, kind of a streaky look. I kind of like that actually. And I was going to actually use the stencils on this little girl's shirt, because I have these boo stencils. And I tried putting them on with the transfer tape, but because it's round on her sleeves, because the little bag says boo, so I thought it'd be cute to put some boos on the sleeves, just like 2 on each one. But I can't get the transfer tape to pick up these tiny little dots. I tried it both ways, and the little black dots they won't stick to they keep coming up off of the backing. So I was like, oh, I'm going to scrap that idea. Now I've got to come up with something else cute to put on her little sleeves. So really want to make sure you work around that outside edge, because you want to pick up that color around here. You guys will see me mix a lot. I do a lot more color mixing than using multiple colors, because it's cheaper, first of all. And the more you start mixing your own colors, the more comfortable you get with it. And it's important to get comfortable with it, because once you know how to mix your own colors, you know, the possibilities are endless with just a few colors at your house. You don't need to have 100 different bottles of paint. So I'm just going to do the front. Well, I better not on this, since I mixed color. I better go all the way around. Otherwise, I'll end up with 2 different shades, and that will be weird. So I'm going to pick up some more orange. And each time I pick up a little bit more paint, I'm just working a little more of that that natural buff that we started with. We're just kind of working that out a little bit more each time. So we'll start out here on the edges first, because I do know I have too much paint on my brush. You guys know I'm not patient at this part. But it's okay, it's okay. So Renee sells both of these types of dry brushes on the website. I did put a link to the Gammy's Happy Bees website in the comments. And I want all of you guys to buy these Zem brushes, because they are so fantastic. And I just got some of the Mongoose brushes, which I'm really anxious to try too. Those are also from Zem, but they're the red handle brushes. I think it's called the Mongoose line. And I'm anxious to see how those do. So I really like the bright red kind of shade underneath, but you know, you could for sure base coat black if you're going for more of a kind of a, I don't know, a scary look. Me personally, I find when I base coat stuff with black first of all, it takes a long time to cover up. We're going to find out when I do this little pumpkin bag down here, or this little boo bag, her trick-or-treat bag. I'm going to dry brush it with purple. I'm in such an awkward position here. And it takes a few passes to cover up, you know, black with the dark colors, especially like purple. So, okay, so I'm going to go ahead and keep doing that on the pumpkin. Oops, got a hair in there in my paint. Okay, I'm going to keep working and mixing my orange and yellow together. See, we'll get a couple more little passes right up here around this hand. Gonna do the same thing down here, but I'm gonna probably change, because this is gonna take a long time to do. I'm just gonna wipe this off. I have way too much paint on my brush, obviously, because I'm going to just switch brushes for the pumpkin body part. So let's go ahead and work some of this paint out here. I'm gonna just pick up straight yellow now. No orange at this point. But I still have orange in my brush, so we're just gonna work that yellow in there. And I know I'm using a lot of paint, but that's how I roll, so. Okay, and then I'm gonna come around on her edges first with this highlight color. I'm not getting the contrast I'm looking for. Let's see. I'm going to pick up a little tiny bit of that natural buff and mix it in with the yellow. It's kind of giving me like a little bit of a pastel color, but I think that'll work better on the edges here. So we're just going to come around the edges. And we can work up pretty high because that can be a pretty cute highlight there. Philip, where did you say you got the dry brushes? If you have other, sorry, I'm trying to read it on my phone. If you have other that sell dry brushes, would you care to share? There's a few people that sell Zem brushes. Gammy's Happy Bees is where I got mine. Gammy'sHappyBees.com. There's a link in the comments. I know Cottage Cupboard sells them. Kim Chris sells Zem brushes. I think you can get them on Amazon. I know there's a few places that sell them, but Gammy's Happy Bees is who I work with. That's who I got mine from. And she's got an amazing master brush set on her website. It's got 57 brushes in it. I said 80 the other day by accident. But it's got 57 brushes in the kit, plus you get a brush bag and also a brush cleaner. It's a really good deal for, I can't remember the price that she has them for, but it's 57 amazing brushes. There's base coating brushes in there of these. There's dry brushing brushes. There's detail brushes in there. There's all kinds. So that looks pretty cute. So I probably want to do like a highlight on the top, like right here along these little high spots here. We kind of want to accentuate those little curvatures in the top of the pumpkin. Hi, Carolyn. Okay, so that looks pretty good. I'm still trying to get a good camera angle for you guys here because it's not the greatest the way my phone's set up here with this today. Okay, so that looks pretty good for her hat. I'm going to rinse this brush because I really need a bigger brush for the pumpkin. This number 4 is just too small for that area. It will take a really long time to dry brush that pumpkin with a number 4 brush. You also, guys, need to get one of these cool little jigs. I love having this in the bottom of my water jar. These silicone pads, you can get them on the same website with the brushes. Just make sure I get all that paint out of there. Okay, so I was looking for a flat brush. I don't have a proper size of flat brush that I was going to use for her hair. But since I'm going to do the bag purple too, I'm just going to go ahead and use a filbert for all. So I'm going to pick up this number 6 filbert. This should work good. I'm going to actually use the white bristle interlocked one because this is much coarser of a bristle than the synthetic one. It's a little bit softer, and I really want the color just to pick up on this texture of her hair here. So I'm going to use the harder bristle paintbrush. Okay, I'm going to pick up some, this is dioxazine purple that I'm using. Hi, Tiffany. I'm sorry I let you guys down this weekend with the Fashion Hues demo, but I wasn't feeling well on Sunday, so we're going to reschedule it. Okay, so let's start doing some purple on the hair here. You could also be doing it with like a blue, like a navy blue, but I really want her hair to be kind of purple, so. And I do think she's a girl, so I don't know. Some people say it's a boy, but I think she's a little cute little girl. So it'll take a couple passes before you guys probably start to see this purple show up on the black. I really want to be careful not to get purple on my hat, but if I do, I've got some clean water here. I can just wipe it off really quick. So we're going to get our first color purple down here. Now this is pretty textured, so I can leave quite a bit of paint on my brush. Gonna get nervous here around the face. Gotta get right up under here. Don't be so careful. So a flat brush would also work really well on this texture because you wouldn't get so much color in those carved lines. It would mostly just sit right on the top. So that's why a flat would really be ideal here on this hair. Because I really want it to stay pretty black up underneath. You know, I want it to look black but with purple streaks or something. Versus a you know, just black hair with some purple highlights. Okay, I want to be careful around the face here. It just takes so many coats for you guys to really see because it's so dark. So I guess I'll go ahead and do the back of her hair today so we can shade all of it and you guys can see with the highlights and stuff. I don't usually do the backs, but I guess with hair you kind of have to so it all looks cohesive. Working pretty quick here. I'm leaving quite a bit of paint on my brush because this is so textured. I've painted this little cutie before. I think last time, I want to say I did some green in her hair maybe. But I painted her like a girl that time too. Okay, she definitely needs some more in front of her face. flip it around here and do it from the bottom as well. I don't need to worry so much about the underneath side because that's going to stay pretty dark. And the darker I keep it, the less I have to, you know, pastel under there because it's already black, so. Okay, just about have our first coat of color on here. Do one more swipe on the back. Do you guys actually enjoy watching this, or do you? I mean, I always feel like I need to rush to hurry through this part because I'm taking too long. I know you guys have busy lives, but if I'm just going to be painting, I guess I can record what I'm doing. And I've been doing a lot of painting, so. Okay, we're going to do the same thing, purple on the bag here. But I can see I'm going to have to be a lot more careful with this guy because there's not as much texture on this bag. So let's just do her hair. I'll come back and do the bag one. That's going to take a few passes to get coverage on that. Okay, so I've got a pretty good base layer down of purple. Now, if I really wanted her hair to be, you know, purple, like purple, I could do even more coats. But I want it to look purple, but I also want it to be really dark black underneath. All right, so I've got a good base coat there. I'm gonna pick up my highlight color, which is Purple Pizzazz. I'm gonna use the same brush. You could also add white to your paint if you want here, but I have, these are the colors we used in the set, so. Because we're using purples, we can definitely blend these colors together. So we'll keep using the same brush. So now I'm gonna do my highlights on her hair. So obviously I'm gonna be highlighting the top. Right along the hat line here. We're going to be highlighting around the face. Always want to highlight around the face. Okay, I'm going to flip it around. Definitely going to highlight on the front. I need more Purple Pizzazz on my brush here. Gonna come along the, just right here on the ends. Okay, definitely need more around the cheeks. And then I'm also going to pick up some of this natural buff color and lighten this up even more once I get these highlights on the ends here. Okay, so right down here. Looks pretty good. A little bit more paint. Okay, and then down here on the back, obviously, we're going to have it on the top of the head. And then we're going to have it around this bend here. All the way over to here. Oops. Let's cover that up. Okay, so we're going to just come and soften this up a little bit. This is making a really pretty color. So we want a nice soft transition from, you know, light to dark, and then you've got more light up here on the top. So we definitely have to come back and do a little bit more highlighting up here. Soften this edge up some. Come down a little bit here on this part. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and pick up that natural buff color. You could also use white, but if I use white, I'm going to get a really, really stark pastel lavender color. So because I'm going to use the natural buff, it's kind of got a cream base. It's not going to be so over the top. We'll see how that looks. That's giving me kind of like a little bit of a pastel, but not too terribly much. Okay, I'm gonna get most of that paint out of there. And then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna do just really right on the edge. Flip it around here, and we're going to do these top edges here. I'm going to come just on the tips. So if you had used white to mix, which you totally can, it would be a really bright lavender purple, and I want it to kind of be more subtle. So I'm definitely going to come up here. Let's flip this around again, because this top part definitely has to be bright. Using very, very little pressure on this paintbrush. Definitely want to come down over here and do some highlights down here. Don't forget this little corner around the face right here. She's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and do right up underneath right here. I might even want to add a little bit more here. Let's come up just a tad little bit farther. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and just hit where the bend is in the hair. Because remember, her hair is kind of bending. It's bending from this to here. So anytime where we have a bend, we're gonna wanna have a highlight like that. So we're just gonna highlight the very tips of the back of the hair. And of course, you can do this as light or dark as you want. I'm going to come up pretty far with it. Looks pretty good. Okay. I might come up and do just a little bit of a highlight on this one because this is a high hair. You know, let's just go ahead and do a little tiny bit right there. Okay, that's looking pretty good for her little hairline. I like that. I'm gonna rinse this brush. I'm super bummed that I'm not able to use those boo stickers, but I'm gonna just probably write boo on his little shirt everywhere. So for dry brushing this shirt, I'm going to use sour apple over the top of the, what did we use? Holly green for the base coating. And I want to use a number 6. I'm going to use a number 6. So load this brush up. Okay, let's see, where's a good place to start? Probably right here, maybe. Someplace that's got some texture. So I've got this little bend in the elbow here. Now I am using the synthetic filbert, which is the bristles are a little bit softer. And I feel like for when you're working on a smooth area like this, where there's really no texture, that these synthetic filberts work a lot better than the interlocking ones, which are the gray handle brushes, because they're a little bit softer of hair. Oh, I got too much paint right there. And they tend to they're a lot, it's kind of just a softer, when it lays the paint down, it just does it a little bit softer than those coarse hair brushes. And Renee and I were talking the other day, and I told her, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize how much I was gonna love these synthetic ones, because you just get a really nice soft. And it's weird because the bristles aren't any longer than in the interlocking ones, but it just is a completely different feel when you're laying the paint down. So I really like these ones for smooth texture like this, where there's not really much texture to pick up the paint off the brush. She said the same thing. She didn't expect to love them as much as she did. So let's see here. Let's get up under this collar. It's another reason why I waited to do the pumpkin, because this way if I get any green on it, I can just paint over it before I move ahead. Okay, I gotta make sure I don't have too much paint in there again. Oh my gosh, they're really so dreamy. I mean, I wish I could explain how divine. I really don't know another word. It's just such a soft application. I really have just been so surprised at the outcome that I get when I use these brushes. My phone's ringing. I guess I forgot to turn Do Not Disturb on. You feel like you're getting a good, I just forgot what I was saying now because my phone rang. I don't know, it feels like you get a really nice layer of paint laid down there. It's just really goes on smoothly. Okay. Oh, and I was saying I do the pumpkin at the end, so in case I get green on it, I can just cover that up and keep going. Sorry guys, I got distracted there for a second when my phone rang. So I'm going to go ahead and try to do two pretty good coats of this color. I keep hitting my phone with the paintbrush, sorry. Working pretty quick here. Now, a flat brush would also work here too, but you know, you guys, my kind of analogy is if it's rounded like this, around this way, I'm going to use a filbert. But that's just my preference. If you were using a flat brush here, you would have a lot more of the dark green showing up underneath versus this light green. Dry brush this little bad boy real quick. Let's see, what brushes am I using right now? I'm using the synthetic bristle filberts. They're series 1427, and they're the white handle dry brushes. They're two style dry brushes. The gray ones are the interlocking. These are the ones that are more coarse hair. The white handle ones are the ones that are synthetic, and it's just a different type of a brush. It's just it's a smoother kind of a blend. Both I feel like are equally important because those coarse hair brushes are really good when you're working on textured areas. So just go ahead and get this arm done real quick. How are we doing on time? I don't even know what time I started. Oh, I usually try to look at that so I can see how long we've been going here. So I probably need a little bit of a smaller brush to get in here, but I'm just gonna go for it. Definitely need more paint. Let's pick up on this bend a little bit. Work our way across this one. Because remember, you can do a lot of detail and a lot of extra stuff with the pastels that you don't have to spend a tremendous amount of time here. You can cover up a lot of stuff. And you know, you guys, you don't have to use pan pastels. You can use any pastels that you have. I just use pan pastels because that's what I use. And they're a very high quality product, and I've tried a lot of different pastels, chalk pastels, and this is just there's very little filler in the pan pastels, and so they adhere to ceramics a lot better than stick pastels because of the limited binder that's in the powder. But you can use any pastels that you have if you want to do that extra step. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's cover this up here. Okay, and then we can't forget his little shoes. Or her little shoes, I should say. I'm gonna grab some more paint. Let's work this way. Because you're always gonna have more light, you know, around the edges. So working this way, it kind of pulls that color up from the bottom. I set the camera phone stand down too low and my paintbrush keeps hitting it. Sorry, I keep moving the camera. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm more trying to just show you guys, because I can kind of finish it. I don't know, I always worry I'm taking too long, you guys. I'm trying to hurry for you. All right, that looks pretty good. So we've got our first layer of color down. I'm gonna come back to the shoes. I wanna mostly do the shirt. So now I'm gonna pick up some yellow in my brush. Get some more green in here. Now I'm gonna add my highlight colors. So I'm gonna mix a kind of a limey color green here for highlights. Okay, so first I guess we'll start on the little bends here on the front of the elbow and on the top. Because remember, we've got quite a bit of light hitting on the top of the arm here. You can kind of work this way a little bit as long as you're using very little pressure, because you definitely want to have that nice transition from light to dark. So I'm just going to go ahead and highlight the very top of the shirt here. Okay, and then I want to come around on the front here and just kind of get the outside edges of the little collar. The top of the zipper. The edges are really the most important part because that's, you know, always going to be your brightest spot there. Okay, and then same thing on this side. We'll go ahead and highlight the front and the little bend in the elbow. Oh my gosh, a spider just landed on my... Spider is like hanging from my phone. That's crazy. That was scary. All right. So right around the bend there, we're gonna have a highlight. And then, of course, on the top of the little handle, the little stem here, we'll have it highlight here too. Okay, and then you'll do the same thing on the back too. We're gonna have definitely where the whole elbow bends here, you need the highlight. We can even come a little bit more on the top right here. Okay, that looks pretty good. So, let's see here. Let's do the back. Little elbow right here. Can kind of do around the top edges. And then, of course, don't forget the back side of the outside edges of the collar around here. And the more yellow you add, the brighter your highlight will be too. So, okay, so I'm gonna rinse this brush. I'm gonna come back and do her feet, her little shoes, and I still have to do the legs and stuff, but I wanted to kind of at least get this part done for you guys. Because I was gonna do her eyes. I know people are always wanting to learn how to do eyes. So I thought we would do that on her. So let me grab my white and we'll base coat her eyeball. I'm going to be using my MAC Tidwell stubby brush. Same one we used the other day. This is my eye brush. I get these on Amazon. And, you know, especially, and see, I can see like right here, if you guys can see, I got green on her neck. I don't care about that because when I contour her face and shade, I'm going to cover all that up with the pastels. So that's why I just was like, oh, you can just leave the neckline as it is. So I'm going to pick up some white here and we're just going to do her little eyeballs. I do have my magnifiers on too, you guys. Those are like a must-have for eyes, in my opinion. So much better than readers. Okay, got my first layer down there. Yeah, looks good. Got full coverage there. And while that dries, I'm gonna do this pumpkin real quick. So I think we'll just do our, this orange takes really a lot of coats to cover over this, even though it looks like it doesn't. It took quite a few coats. That's why I was mixing it with the yellow. I'm gonna actually use a number 8. I'm gonna use a number 8 for this. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up that jack-o'-lantern orange again. And I'm gonna mix in some of my saffron yellow. I want a much brighter. Let me just try to move this camera a little bit up here. I just won't be able to see your guys' comments if I move it up too much higher. So now I've got a nice contrasting like yellow orange here. So I can go ahead and start doing my initial color. I really feel like it needs a lot more yellow in it. And I'm probably going to add more because I'm so impatient. Let me add more. Because it almost can be yellow with a tinge of orange, you know, because it's such a red orange underneath. And the more yellow it is, the less coats it's going to take me to cover this little girl. Whoa. Okay, I need to paint refill here. Hold on. Okay. Gonna pick up some more yellow. Because I still have that orange in there, so that orange is going to tone the yellow down tremendously. Working pretty fast, but I think I'm going to do some bright yellow behind the eyes. But I'm going to just see how it looks when we get to that point. Again, you could be using a flat brush here. If you're using a flat, you're not going to get this nice soft transition around the bottom, around any of these round areas. You're just going to kind of get like a hard drop off of color. You guys can also see probably that I've got some, I don't know, green right there. Again, I'm going to cover that up with pastels, so I'm not going to spend too much time going back and trying to cover up 14 coats of orange with over the green, because it doesn't cover very well, that orange over that green. So I'm going to just use my pastels to cover that up. Each time I'm just adding more yellow, but I still have that orange in my brush. So each pass might just get just a little tiny bit brighter, which I'm okay with. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Ontario, Canada. Brenda, thank you so much. I love that I have so many Canadian followers. That's amazing. You guys are so great. Some of you trying to convince me to have Dimple Fest in Canada. I'm trying to think of a way to make it happen, you guys. I think it would be amazing. So super fun. Okay, I'm going to pick up a little bit more orange because it's starting to get kind of yellow now at this point. So put just a little bit more orange in there. Really, we're leaving this underneath, kind of this underneath part down here. And this piece got broken in shipping, you guys, and I didn't do a very good job of gluing it back together. So this is just for me though, this set, so I'm gonna not worry about that crack. Okay, again, if you were using a flat here, you would not be getting this much. You'd have a lot more of the scarlet, the reddish orange showing through underneath. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm gonna do one more mix of yellow here. Gonna go over it one more time. Really just brighten it up some. One more pass. Well, I want it to make it look pretty bright, like a bright, really bright lit pumpkin. Starting to come together. It's always so boring in the very beginning because you're like, oh, when are we going to get to the good stuff? Just dry brushing over black isn't fun to watch either. All right, that looks pretty good. Let's go over the back one more time. Just brighten that up a little bit. Okay, hi Faith. Hi Laura. Man, it's late where you guys are, huh? 7 o'clock already. Okay, so we've been on for like maybe an hour here. All right, so that looks pretty good. So now I'm gonna go and I'm gonna pick up some of my, just like we did on the hat up here, I'm gonna pick up some of the natural buff. That's just gonna kind of act like it's just gonna tone this down a little bit. And you could use white, of course. You could use light buttermilk. You guys know that's one of my favorite colors. Now we're just gonna go along this outside edge here because this is where it's the brightest around this round part here. So let's see, I'm gonna flip it around here. Let me make sure I don't have too much paint in my brush. Okay, and now we're just gonna go right down along here. We don't want it, we want it to be pretty subtle too, you know, so gotta do some real soft blending here, work on our way up from the bottom. So we're just kind of pulling that color up and we're doing a really nice soft transition from the light to the dark. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's see what it looks like. We'll flip it around. Yeah, that looks so good like that. So that's really nice. I like that, how that looks there. So we'll go ahead and do it all the way around the bottom of the pumpkin in the back too. We're just basically hitting this outside edge because these are the high spots. You know, these outside edges at the bottom where it's much larger, we're getting more light here. So that's why we're just doing it around this base. It looks pretty good. Now I don't know if I want to do like, maybe I want to paint black inside the mouth. Maybe. I don't know. I need to think on that for a second. I think that probably is going to be the best option and it's going to probably look the best. Just doing black inside there. So I'm going to rinse my brush. We'll paint her little pupils on her eyes. Do some lashes and then we'll probably be done. I can show you guys. I'm probably going to write Boo on her little shirt. All right, so we're going to do, probably going to have to do green eyes. So let me get my magnifiers back on. So we'll just keep going with the same color palette. We're going to use the holly green for the eyes. And because these are pretty small eyes, I'm not going to do the black eyeball first. I'm going to just go with my color. So I'm going to start in the middle. kind of close to the middle there. And then we're just going to kind of pull down each side. Now, I know I've said this to you guys lots of times. There's lots of ways to paint eyes. This is just one of the ways that I do it. So there's, in my opinion, there's no right or wrong way. I like to start at the middle and pull the colors and meet down at the bottom. Because then it kind of gives you, now I can see that eyeballs, that iris is too small. So we're going to have to make it a little bit bigger. I come down a little bit farther and make his eyeball just a tad bit bigger. So if I had put a black base down first, this, you can see I'm getting quite a bit of white pull through with the green. It would have been really hard to cover up the green over the black. So that's why I just decided we'll just do the green eyeball. Okay. Connect this down here at the bottom. Make sure we don't have any brush strokes in our paint. And then, uh-oh. Let me get that off there really quick. Got some green up on the eye right there. Oh, it's already dry. All right, well, we're just gonna have to make a really thick eyelid right there. All right, I'm gonna do 2 coats because I like to have solid color on my eyeballs. Too much paint on there. I still feel like it needs to come down just a little bit more here. There we go. Okay. So I definitely need some more right up at the top right here because we want it to really to cover like at least the middle of the eyelid. So wherever you start right here, you want to at least come down like mid to mid right here to in between this, the corner of the eye and the eyeball. You don't want it to be, you don't want too much space up at the top where it meets the eyelid. Okay, so let this dry for a second. Let me just make sure, does that look good? I think this eyeball is not as low as this one. This is honestly the hardest part, is trying to get them to be sort of symmetrical here. There we go, I think that's pretty close. Okay, so I'm gonna rinse this brush. Let me grab my little detail brushes. I'm going to pick up that mini liner. That's a 20/0. Ooh, that's gonna be fun to use. Okay, let me just grab the brush we're gonna use for the eyelashes. Let me find the one I want. It's definitely not that one. Sorry guys, I have a lot of detail brushes now and I'm trying to just find the one that's gonna work the best for the lashes. Oh, that's a 20/02. What's the difference between these two? So I have a 20/0 black swirl mini liner, and then I have a Russian sable mini liner. They're both 20/0. One's a little bit of a longer bristle than the other. And I think that the Russian sable would probably be best for the eyelashes and stuff. So let's just see how that lays in there. I don't think that's big enough. Let me try a different one. Okay, this one might be better. This is a number 0, I think, for the line above the eyelid. That's gonna be the best bet. So I'm gonna grab my high flow acrylic. This is the carbon black high flow acrylic that I use for eyes. Let's see if I can squeeze it out without having to take the lid off. This bottle's almost empty, and every time I take the lid off, I dump way more on my tray than I need. This stuff does dry really quickly too, you guys, and you don't need a lot on your tray, but if you leave it, because it's so fluid, if you leave it for too long, it starts to dry up a little bit. So first thing we'll do is, I'm going to use this number 0. You want to have a smooth bit of paint on there, just like sharp tip. You don't want to have, hi Sharon, hi Jackie, you don't want to have a big like bubble of paint on the tip of your brush. Okay, so we're going to start in this corner here, and we're just going to put the eyelid line on first. My iPad is in the way too. I don't have a very good setup right now. All right, so start over here, and we're just going to come and meet in the middle. I don't usually talk during this part because I'm holding my breath, you guys. Because, you know, once you get to this part, you can't really, if you mess up, you can't really, gotta go back and repaint her whole face. And it really works best if you kind of turn the piece like this as you're doing it, rather than try to turn your paintbrush. Okay, so let's see, do I want to just use this same brush or why not? Let's just do it. So we'll do this eye first. Let's start in the middle again. And then we're just going to come down with our pupil of the eye. Fill that in and then look and see, is that a big enough size? Is that a good size? Probably. Flip it around and make sure it's symmetrical from the bottom. Do I need it to be a little bit bigger? Probably. Let's see. Let's do it from this side. And this is where you guys just have to use your judgment, you know. How big of an eyeball do you want it to be? How big of a pupil do you want it to be on the iris? Because the smaller you make the pupil, it looks weird. So it really needs to be pretty good size. I like it to take up almost the whole entire iris of the eyeball. But it's really hard to come back if you make it too big. That's why I like to start small and work up to a larger circle, because then you can kind of gauge it. Okay, let's see, how does that look? Pretty good. Needs to be a little bit bigger on the right side. Okay, still holding my breath. Come out a little bit bigger on this side. Okay, how does that look? Pretty good. Okay, so I'm gonna rinse this brush. Let me see. I really think that this 20/0 with the brush and Sable Mini, the bristles are, you can just tell, even though it's the same size, even though they're both 20. Oh wait, I did grab the 0. Wait, hold on. This was the 20 I was looking at. So these are both 20/0s. One's a Russian Sable Mini Liner and the other one's a Black Swirl. And you can tell, even though they're the same, their bristles are different. So I think that using the 20/0, the longer bristle one, is going to be the best for the eyelashes. And again, whether you use the carbon high flow acrylic on the eyeball, the pupil of the eyeball, is not as important as using it for the lashes, because the lashes is really where you can, if you don't use that more fluid black, you end up with big clumpy eyelashes, and you don't want that. So I'm just going to use, first let's put our green highlight on there. So I'm still using this 20/0. Let's do this one first. Okay, just gonna go on the bottom of this eye right here and do our little highlight right on the bottom of the black. Just gonna create a little comma, just like that. So easy, right in between the black and the green. Okay, let me rinse this brush. Gonna pick up my black high flow with that same 20/0. Now this is really important, you guys, when you're picking up your paint, especially for lashes. You don't want a big glob of paint on the end of that brush. You want it to be fine, crisp point. And the best way to do that is how you load it. Load it this way, and then kind of turn the paint around on the tray like that, so that you work that paint into a fine tip, a fine point before you lay it down on the piece. Okay, and then I like to start about midway up. These are pretty fat little lashes, and I'm just kind of doing like a comma. Then I'm gonna flip it around here. My paint's getting a little bit thick too, so paint it around and turn around, and then we'll do the little brush lashes going this way. Just like that. Okay, come over and start about midway. And you're just creating little kind of comma shapes, pulling the brush up once you lay that initial brush stroke down. And then I'm going to come up here, I'm going to cover up that little green dot right now. I usually just do about 2 or maybe 3 little ones going the opposite direction, like that. Okay, I'm going to rinse this brush. I'm going to just grab my little daughter tool, just because I think they're so fun. I'm going to pick up some white. I could use the end of my paintbrush too, but these ones are actually work great for the eyes. They're so tiny. This is a number 3 that I've got here. Got like a weird little, all right. Okay, and then we're just gonna do the little dots on the eye, the little reflective dots. And I think, I don't know, I always say I think I'm gonna do 1, but then I go back and do 2. just cause. So that's cute. I love that. So we'll let that dry for a second. I'm gonna come back with, I'm actually gonna grab this. Where did I just set it down? Hold on. I'm gonna grab this number. This is the 20/0, the short handle, the short bristle one. I'm gonna pick up just, I think I'm gonna do it, I don't know, I think maybe it has to be in purple, but I think it needs to be in white. So let's just do it in white. I also, for white details, I also use the high flow acrylic for white too. Hi Tammy. I don't think I've opened this bottle yet. Let me see. I have a much smaller bottle, but it's not in here right at this moment. I like to use the high flow acrylic for lettering on stuff because if you've got more fluid paint, you're gonna end up with a nice, you're not gonna have a bunch of like really thick paint lines on your piece either. So let me just shake this up here. I'm gonna just put a little tiny bit of this high flow white acrylic on my tray. It's way more than I need, but because I just opened that bottle, I want to make sure. So I'm gonna just write some boo letters on her little shirt. And I'm gonna use this tiny, tiny 20/0. I'm gonna pick up my high flow. Well, it's sticking to my brush. Okay, and then I'm just gonna do some lettering on here just to have something that's gonna match her little boo bag. It's kind of looking a little bit watery because I didn't shake it up very good, I guess. I just added some regular acrylic to it. So I'll have to go back over that one. This one's kind of watery right here. I just thought it would be fun to put some little boos on her little shirt to match her little bag. And I wish I would have been able to use the stencils because those would have been super cute, but I couldn't get the little part inside the B and the O to stay on there. I think because it's so small, the space is so small, that's why. So that's all. So I was gonna do some little boo lettering on her little shirt. And I'm sure they're not all the same size, but I don't care because they're close. Oh, something else that would be fun is you could paint little spiders on there too. I don't know, we'll see. Just take your time, you know, if you're using the high flow, it works really well, covers well. And I don't know, I might have to fill it in with like some little orange hearts or maybe some purple hearts or purple polka dots on their little, oh no, I put it on the wrong color. Hold on, get back to the white. Okay, let's put one right here. It's kind of weird to do it on the elbow. I got a weird V going on right here. You guys, I just like to paint little details like this on the pieces, you know? But I realize not everybody, you know, can do that or wants to do that. But it's really not hard to add just a few little touches that make your pieces, you know, stand out quite a bit. So I'm gonna rinse this brush. I want to put some purple something on here. Maybe hearts or polka dots. I don't know. Let's just see. I think I'm gonna do little purple hearts. I'm just using this same brush. There's a fly on her head. You could use a bigger brush if you wanted bigger hearts. We'll just fill in these little boo spaces with little purple hearts. These little details make such a difference, you know, and they don't really take that long to do. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. I love that. Might have to throw some orange polka dots in there too. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think some orange polka dots would be so super cute. I don't know if they would show up very well though, but we're gonna find out. Don't you guys love experimenting with me? I gotta do the back, right? The boos on the back, but we're just doing the front here. I love that. I don't know. It might have to be white polka dots. What do you guys think? Because I think if I do orange, it might not show up very well. So let's do white. Rinsing this brush. Gonna pick up my little daughter tool again. Let's just put some little polka dots on here in between. These dots could be so much bigger. Let me switch to a bigger tool, hold on. I think I have a number 4 here. This is number 5. So let's go back and make these a little bit bigger dots. Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh no, I touched this one right here. Guess what? It's getting a dot. Hopefully no one notices. And if they do, too bad, so sad, because it's on there now. This is my most favorite part, is detailing. Adding all these fun little things. Okay, that's pretty cute. So I guess finalizing, I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you think we should paint black in the eyes? I think so. Let's just do it. I'm gonna go back to my MAC Tidwell stubby brush. So pick up some more high flow acrylic. Oops. Okay, let's see. We'll pick up some of this. I just think this needs to be black in here. don't want to put my finger in there. I keep putting my finger over there. I think the black is going to make a really big difference. You could for sure be using a bigger brush, but I told you guys this is like my go-to for my eyes and stuff, so I feel most comfortable using this with this part. That's gonna make a huge difference. Oh my gosh. You could always do it like in bright yellow too. That was kind of what I was thinking, but because she's got the black and purple hair, I just thought black would probably be the best option. She does need like some lip color on too. Should we put like, I'm thinking maybe painting her lips like orange. Some orange lip gloss with some glitter on it. That would be fun. I think that sounds like a great idea. Orange lipstick, orange little lip gloss lips on her. That's gonna be fun. I'm just going right into that carve line there too. Just going right over the whole thing. Because we're not dry brushing this part, we're filling in, so. I make it look too easy. You're so funny, Jenny. I appreciate you saying that, but you guys can do it too.